Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be taking a look and reacting to a video from a guy I don't recognize. It's a new channel, I think. But the video is titled, Does Hera Have a Weakness? And it's obviously in brackets AoE 2. And it has a decent amount of views. There's like around 7,000 views. It got recommended to me and I figured, hey, if I've got a weakness, I'd like to know about it. You know what I mean? Let's go see what people are talking about. And I do want to showcase this guy's channel first and foremost. So it looks like he's actually making some videos. He's got another one. Maybe if you guys like this, I'll react to this one. But he's got some gameplay videos, but he's recently kind of dove into some tournament commentary stuff, which I think is very nice for the scene. And I think that's something that is actually missing. So with all that said, let's go ahead and hop right in. It's an 11-minute video, so let's go ahead and watch it, and I'll kind of give you guys my thoughts throughout it all. I have no idea what to expect, but I figured let's go ahead and give this guy a chance. And, if it's nice, I think more people would like to listen. Let's go ahead and start.
In the Age of Empires 2 pro scene, one player has completely dominated S-tier tournaments for the past 3 years. After 11 S-tier tournament wins in a row, Hera has firmly established himself as one of, if not the greatest AoE 2 player of all time.
Shout out the Argentina flag. A lot of people like this. Actually, fun story about the Argentina flag. One of the fans passed it to me, and I was living in Argentina for 2 years. I love the Argentina fans. They're very, very nice. I figured, it would be very appropriate for me to rep the flag. I've been living there for a little bit. And this actually went on like the mainstream Argentina news outlets. It got like multiple posts on Twitter hitting like 30,000, 40,000 likes, 500,000 to millions of views on these posts. It's really circulated, which was absolutely insane. So yeah, this Argentina flag picture or moment, this was seen by like most of the active Argentinian community online, which is really cool.
Not only this, Hera has also done a lot of work in raising the profile of the game. He produces daily content, streams on Twitch, and produces build orders and guides for players at every ELO bracket. Hera has become the face of Age of Empires 2, and has carved out a role for himself as the approachable champion of AoE 2, a true WWE-style babyface, an all-round good guy who will smile and shake your hand while he dances around your castle fire with a single archer, killing your vills whilst avoiding arrow fire and laughing maniacally in the background.
All right, that's pretty good, man. I mean, it's a little too much glaze for my taste. It's just a little awkward for me to react to, someone saying that, but he's making it funny, which I appreciate, which I like.
Skill in this game is undeniable. There seems to be nothing that he does not excel at, whether it's his efficient macro play, how he micros his armies, his overarching strategic sense, and his general refusal to die when it seems someone might finally beat him. It seems that Hera does not have a weakness, so I decided to find out if that was true.
Fair enough. I mean, good intro so far. Makes sense. Let's see what he comes up with. I'm really curious about that because I saw a post circulating the other day. It was like people on Reddit were asking ChatGPT what weakness does Hera have, and then ChatGPT's like, you have to like attack him early, get a nice lead, and then try to snowball it, like just generic slop nonsense. So I'm really curious to see if this guy actually narrows it down to like something substantial, or if he's gonna go down the generic route. Either way, if it's anything other than a ChatGPT response, I think it's going to be better than the AI nonsense. So let's go ahead and take a look.
In order to do this, I wanted to look at the data.
I like that.
It is important to mention that Hera does not win all tournaments.
Fact.
There are A-tier tournaments where Hera either does not compete or has not won, but when it comes to S-tier tournaments, Hera is a different beast. This is where I'm going to focus my analysis. I'm not including ranked 1v1 ladder games or any tournaments below S tier, because at this point the top pros use these to either test strategies or just to have fun, if they even compete in them at all. So
that makes a lot of sense. So like a lot of people, especially like viewers of like daily streams and whatnot, they see like, oh, Hera just beat Viper 3 times on the ranked ladder, this is really important. It really doesn't matter. So I like that this guy's making the distinction between ranked and other and tournament play, and I think sticking to just S tiers is actually going to make his case very strong. Like if he's able to come up with something that I'm weak at in an S tier tournament, I think that's he can make a really good case there. So let's see what he presents with the data. I'm seeing a lot of spreadsheets. This is looking interesting. This guy clearly does research, so let's go see.
I have created a database of over 2,000 S-tier tournament games since the beginning of 2023.
That's crazy.
This covers 12 tournaments. only one of which Hera didn't win. This data includes all games within the main event, so everything from round 1, but excluding the qualifiers. It includes all civilizations that are picked, all maps played, and those maps have been split into 7 map types.
I love this guy. That was so impressive. So he's got all the data from the last 12 S tier tournaments, one of which I didn't win, and he's going to be able to draw conclusions from those from that spreadsheet. It seems really logical. And I can't believe there's been 2,000 games. He's only taking main event games, of course, not qualifier games. But 2,000 games is a lot. I would think it's the number is much lower in 12 S tiers, but I guess with all the group stages and whatnot, it does add up. But yeah, love where this is headed.
Map types are closed maps like Arena, where opponents begin with defenses already built. Semi-open maps like Arabia, where opponents don't begin with defenses, but bases are easily wallable. Open maps like Land Madness, where there are no defenses and it's difficult to wall. Chaotic maps like Chaos Pit, where opponents spawn close together or there is an early battle for map control or resources. Hybrid maps like Cross or Copenhagen, which feature both land and water. Water maps like Islands or Migration that encourages water play. And finally, Nomad maps where players begin without a TC.
Yeah, fair enough.
What I looked for in the data are map types or civilizations where Hera is not the number 1 player. Are there any civilizations he chooses that aren't optimal for him?
I just want to say the game in the background, this is from the tournament I didn't win. I learned so much from this one game that even though I didn't win this tournament, and I was actually feeling really bad after this tournament. This was the one tournament before my win streak started. I was feeling very bad about that because I got a lot of like negative comments. Which is crazy in hindsight because like I went on a tear after this. But this tournament I was kind of like still like messing up, like doing well and messing up. A lot of people were like criticizing me and saying like I'm always choking in the finals and whatnot. Which I again in hindsight is crazy. But yeah, this game I learned so much from it. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that. I don't know why, kind of a sidetrack. But yeah, this game brings back memories.
Are there any map types he struggles with compared to his opponents? Is there any way to stop this man's reign of terror over the AoE 2 S tier tournament scene? Well, first of all, there are definitely areas where Hera can be better, but what I found out is that this is inconsequential, as the only person really competing with Hera is, well, Hera. By almost every metric, Hera is way ahead of his nearest competition. So let's start by looking at Hera's overall win rate. Hera's individual match win rate in S tier tournaments since 2023 is just under 75%. His closest competitor in this metric is the Viper, who is at 60%. And to put this into further perspective, this is how the top 10 looks.
So this is game win percentage. I will say this metric is probably the least interesting for me because you don't advance from round to round based on winning games. It's about winning matches. So a game win loss is not that interesting. But it is cool to see the numbers here a little bit. I mean, what's interesting is you see the top 4. This has been the top 4 for the last like 5 years basically. And it seems like we're still going strong. And taking a look at it, this is pretty much exactly where people would rate the players. Although in recent times, I think Leary kind of made a jump to second place probably. But it's cool to see like the 4 players up top. My win rate seems to be significantly higher. But again, this particular stat doesn't excite me too much because you don't win. You don't advance in a tournament by game win rate. It's about match win rate. So let's see what he draws from this.
Where the majority hover around 50%.
Yeah, makes sense, obviously.
This one might have been obvious. Obviously, the guy who has won the last 11 tournaments in a row is going to be ahead of his competitors. But I was surprised at just how far ahead Hera seems to be in front of his competition. So let's see how Hera compares with specific civilization. These are the top 10 most selected civs in S tier tournaments since 2023, and each civ's average win rate.
Chinese win rates.
This will give us a general idea of how well the civ performs on average versus how well Hera performs with each of these civs. These are the 10 most selected civs and their win rate on average across the tournaments. Now here are Hera's individual win rates with these same civs.
I don't lose the Chinese.
There are only two civs where Hera underperforms the average, which are the Dravidians and Hindustanis. But if we compare Hera's top 10 most selected civs and his win rate versus the average of the player base, Hera dominates. This shows that Hera knows where his strengths lay, especially with the Chinese,
Yeah.
where he has a 100% record since 2023.
Let me
So
get
if you are
those.
playing Hera, just ban the Chinese immediately, but feel free to let him play as the Hindustanis or the Dravidians. Comparing to the
No,
average,
I don't like this guy. No, he's telling the opponents what to do. I don't like that. No, I liked him before when he was just glazing me. Now he's giving away too much.
is fine, but Hera isn't average, and we know this. So it makes more sense to compare Hera to his closest rivals,
Yeah.
which, based on win rate since 2023, are Leary, the Viper, and Yo.
Yeah, makes
These are the
sense.
players Hera has also most often competed with in finals. On civilizations that each player has played at least once in a tournament, Yo has a better win rate than his other three competitors on two civilizations, and that's the Maya and the Hindustanis. The Viper has a better win rate on three civs, and that's the Berbers, Dravidians, and Koreans. Leary has a better win rate than the others on seven civs, which is the Bengalis, Burgundians, Byzantines, Cumans, Franks, Tatars, and Vikings. Hera has a better win rate across 19 civilizations. That's the Armenians, Aztecs, Bohemians, Chinese, Georgians, Gujaras, Huns, Inca, Italians, Japanese, Khmer, Malay, Malians, Mongols, Persians, Portuguese, Romans, Saracens, and Vietnamese. Hera was also tied with win rate with Leary on Slavs and Turks, and Yo was tied with Leary for Lithuanians. This gets even more interesting when we see the top 20 most selected civs in S tier tournaments. Of the 20 most selected civs, so generally accepted the 20 most powerful civs in the hands of S tier players, Hera has a better win rate than his three closest competitors, with 65% of them. This shows that Hera has not just mastered his favourite civs, but has mastered the majority of the most powerful civs.
I do want to talk about that for a second here. I can bring back the chart a little bit. So one thing that I've changed in recent years is that in the past, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I would pick the civs that I like. So I would pick things like the Franks on Arabia because I like to play the Franks. But what I quickly realized is that I'm picking civs that I like, but are very easy for my opponents to counter. And when I'm getting put in positions because of that, where my opponents have the better civ in a matchup. So even though I like what I'm playing and I'm comfortable, my opponent has an inherent advantage. And so what I did was I went away from that and I started playing. I just want to play what's good, like whatever's good. Forget about what I like. That's what I told myself. Forget about what I like. I'm gonna like whatever's good. And so now I find myself playing any civ, any map, and the stats are really showing that. Like no matter where, no matter what civ I'm playing, if it's a good civ for the map, I'm gonna have a high win rate with it. So I think this is something that I've really changed in the last few years, and this is probably one of the main reasons for my recent success. That I'm just playing literally any civ, any map, and I'm a lot harder for my opponents to read compared to what I used to be. And this is probably a lesson for a lot of like the top 10 players right now, that you guys got to stop playing what you think you like to play or what you feel comfortable with, and start playing towards what's actually the best. Um, because that's something that really just helped me out and helped me kind of push my game to the next level, and the stats are supporting that, which is great to see.
Civs, but has mastered the majority of the most powerful civs. So, whilst this data isn't encouraging for our other pro players, it does show where pro players should potentially focus their efforts in terms of civ bans and their own personal civ selections to maximize their chances of beating Hera in a 1v1 series. So what about map types? How does Hera fare here? Well, as you might have guessed, Hera dominates.
I think I'm bad at Nomad statistically. I don't think I am though, to be honest with you. But statistically, I think I'm bad on Nomad.
Hera has the best win rate on all maps except for two, Nomad maps and closed maps. Even there, Hera isn't particularly bad, he's just nowhere near as good. He still ranks second for closed map win percentage and has played
Running is better than me in closed map games. That's like very interesting. And my Nomad stat is 50%. Oh my god, that's disgusting. This is such a bad stat. Maybe I am bad at Nomad. Yeah, maybe I am bad. You can't argue with the numbers. 50% win rate's horrible. Compared to my other stats, this is horrible.
Played far more games than running in first, and he ranks 7th for Nomad win percentage. Outside of this, he ranks first for all other map types. So if you are going to beat Hera, you'll want to try to get him on Nomad maps and the occasional closed map as often as you possibly can.
To be fair, I have made improvements on the closed maps, like with my Monk Rush and Arena and whatnot. So it's gotten a bit better, but I think Nomad clearly is a weakness. And I actually ended up losing like 2 Nomad games in the Linguan Cup, which he's not counting in the database because this video was recorded before the Linguan Cup. So the trends are continuing. Nomad is clearly still my weaker map. So I probably have to work on that. So yeah, that's kind of interesting to see the numbers on that actually.
Ironically, the top civs on average by win rate on Nomad maps are Spanish, Portuguese, Huns, Malay, Koreans, Mongols, and Italians, which are almost all in Hera's top win rate civs, with the exception of Koreans. So I can't explain why Hera struggles particularly on Nomad starts. One thing is clear though, your best chance of beating Hera statistically is getting him to pick Hindustanis on a Nomad map.
That's so funny. Getting him to pick Hindustanis on a Nomad map. Like, leave it open, pick Nomad, leave Hindustanis nice and pretty there, and hope I pick it for Nomad. Obviously, it's not going to happen because it's not really a good Nomad civ, but it's really funny that that's what the numbers show. I do want to say that the reason why I feel like I'm bad at Nomad, I'll just give like my personal opinion, is I just feel like I don't really have a clear game plan going into the game. And I feel like in a lot of cases, I don't really play to secure the map correctly. So I'd find myself in a place where I'm doing okay, but then going into like the mid and late game, my opponent just has a better position on the map. Like he's just reading the game smarter, he's planning further ahead, and I just find myself not really doing that on Nomad. And then I'm also not really good at like combining the water play with the land play, specifically on this map, because on other hybrid maps I usually do a great job at that. But on Nomad specifically, I find the balance to be a lot trickier. And I think that's kind of where I draw my weakness, at least if I had to think about it.
So perhaps hypnosis is the best tool available here.
Sorry, I cut him off before his joke, but that was good. That was actually a good one. A good setup.
In this analysis, wondering if Hera had enough weaknesses for a pro player to exploit. And while I think there are some advantages to be gained, as we have seen, Hera has had some close finals recently against Leary. They are only really going to be exploited by the top players like the Viper, like Leary, and potentially even Yo. Unless there is a new star that skyrockets pretty soon to challenge him for the crown, Hera is likely going to be winning the majority of S-tier tournaments going forward and will continue his impressive streak. Hera is just simply so dominant across so many map types and with so many civilizations that defeating him in a best of 7 or best of 9 game is going to be incredibly tough, because he's going to be better on most maps and most civs than his opponent. I wish I could have offered some more hope to anyone looking for a fresh winner, but you may have to accept that the data suggests Hera isn't going anywhere soon. With the Linguan Cup beginning in China at the time of recording this, I personally hope we see a fresh winner for something new, but I just don't see it happening based on the data.
He was right, the data doesn't lie.
That's not necessarily a bad thing either. Hera seems to be pulling in more and more eyes onto the scene with his content, and the tournament prize pools keep increasing. As long as the scene and community grow, then that can only be a good thing. Feel free to suggest any metrics you want to see from S-tier tournaments, and I will keep adding to the database to produce more of this type of content. Thank you for watching, and leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed this video.
Guys, highly recommend you guys check out his channel and leave a like and subscribe to his channel. I absolutely love that video. I think it was very well done. I like his voice. I like his like script was pretty good. It felt natural, but he also like clearly planned it, so it was not like he was not stuttering a lot like I do in my videos. So I think that was very well done. I mean, some closing thoughts on my end. Obviously, I am in the situation where I'm a dominant champion. The stats are suggesting it, but the way I see it is that I'm always one loss away from the streak ending. Like, here's the thing about the stats, right? If I have a 90% win rate, all right, but that 10% of a loss happens in the finals, then I lose. You know what I mean? So even though the stats suggest that we're going to go strong and it's looking really good, the one loss that could come in at any point could come in the finals, could come in the round of 32, could come in at any different point. So because a lot of tournaments right now are not necessarily group stage, but sometimes they come in single elimination, like KOTD coming up right now in December, I don't feel as secure as the stats suggest. Like, this is from a personal opinion. So I give 100% on every set as if, this could be, the 10% loss, right? And maybe it's that mentality that keeps my stats high, the fact that I'm, worried about losing in every set. But I do feel like, a new champion is always right around the corner, at least, in any one given tournament. Obviously, I feel, confident and secure in my abilities that I think over like a year of like 5 tournaments, I think I would be confident at the moment to win most of those. But I can't say like I'm very confident to win all of those, even though the stats might suggest that I will, statistically win all of those or win like 90% of those. I feel like that 10% is always right around the corner, if that makes any sense. And what I also will say is that I don't necessarily think a dominant champion is bad for the seed. Now, hear me out. I know it's me, and it's like, oh, obviously you think that, you're benefiting from it. I understand. But for example, when I watch like the UFC, for example, and I see dominant champions there, that brings in so many eyes, because all of a sudden when you have some guy who's 25-0 or who's winning 10 S tiers in a row or whatever, then when that guy loses, all right, or when that guy plays, there's so much at stake, and that really draws the attention of people. So I would say that if you're one of those people that's bored of seeing me win, I would just say, see it from a different perspective, that every time I play, there's a chance I lose. And when that does become a loss, it's going to be one of the most exciting things in AoE2, especially if it happens in a close final, and especially if it happens in a LAN event. So that's kind of my take on the whole like dominant champion thing. Obviously, it's weird because it's myself involved, but I would have this opinion regardless if it was me or someone else. And in fact, when I was, starting to play and go towards the top, who was the dominant champion? It was Viper. Who did I root for in every tournament? I rooted for Viper. I don't know why. I rooted for Viper unless he was against me. That's basically it. And then later I got close with Leary, and I was supporting Leary against Viper in certain, matchups, but also Leary was a dominant guy as well. But I don't support some random guy to upset Viper randomly by getting lucky. I like to support the dominant champion until a worthy challenger comes up, and then I might support the worthy challenger. That's the way I see it. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know if you guys did enjoy the video. And if you guys did like it, I'll react to his other video. If it's good, if it's the same quality, I think this was really good. My only advice to this guy is whenever he can, if you can get a better microphone, really, really good video, bro. Amazing. Well done. All right. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out this guy's channel, TFGTV. I will leave a link in a pinned comment or at the top of the description so you guys can easily check it out. And make sure to subscribe and like his video to support him and encourage him to make more content like this. Thanks, guys. Take care. And well done to this guy for the awesome video. Peace out, everyone.